LMI has been operating for close to 20 years in the development of industrial parks and provision of all the requisite services that enables investors operate and thrive. So in the Tema-Free Zones Enclave, LMI Holdings is the major developer and has in its portfolio most of the agro-processing companies in Ghana in the cocoa sector, with Barry Callebaut, Cargill, and other Ghanaian investors, as well as in other agro-processing such as in shea nut processing. Now, what we have realized, and in fact, indeed, we talk a lot about challenges, but as every key entrepreneur knows, a challenge is an opportunity to make a difference, to fill a need. And we have taken then the challenges that exist in land acquisition, in the provision of superior logistics and utilities, as opportunities for us to provide an enabling environment for the industrialization of our country. And so this is what we do. We have, in addition to the Tema-Free Zones Enclave, which is a government-led industrial park, LMI has now developed for itself a private 2,000-acre industrial park, wholly funded by private sources in Dawa. Now, Dawa is about 45 kilometers away from Tema, and for us, that constitutes what we think of as the new Tema. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Ghana, it's amazing how the building of Tema in the 1960s transformed the industrial landscape in Ghana. But there's no longer any space in Ghana, in Tema. And over the last 60 years, perhaps we haven't invested enough in industrial parks. And that's what we seek to do with Dawa. So already, for industries seeking to set up in Ghana, there is 2,000 acres available now in Dawa. Now, to this 2,000 acres, we already have installed all the electricity you would need and distributing it as well. So we have a substation that was funded entirely by LMI, currently available to produce, serve 132 MVA of power through our utilities subsidiary. Now, what we do is we don't just build the infrastructure, we run it ourselves. Because we know that through that and through the private sector involvement, we are able to get efficiencies that ensure that you are assured of the kind of services that you would require. I'm happy to say that in Tema, for instance, our electricity distribution guarantees you up to 99.8% of uptime, inclusive of time taken off for maintenance. Indeed, we believe so much in our ability to provide the power that we do not provide any backup power for even our own offices, which are located within the enclave itself. And we intend to do the same for our Dawa site. Now, in addition to that, there's a need also to have water. And so currently we are working on building our own water treatment to serve the exclusive needs of this enclave in Dawa. Indeed, the feasibility work on that is complete. We will develop that in stages, starting with about 4,000 metric meter cube of water at the outset, increasing to about 125,000 cubic meter when we have completed it. And again, we would leverage the same efficiencies that we have brought into the electricity distribution to ensure that the tenants in our business parks or industrial parks can have access to these utilities as well. Now, all of this is being done outside of the sovereign balance sheet. And we see, as I did say initially, that this is a need that local entrepreneurs in Ghana can bring to bear in the industrialization drive, and to ensure that investors like yourselves who seek to set up industries within our parks can have access to. In addition to developing the business at the industrial park, we recognize that there's a need to have housing. And so, as part of the development of Dawa, there's an entire residential city that we are developing, again funded from private sources, to ensure that there is adequate housing for the workforce that we know you would put in it. So all in all, you will see that we are creating an integrated industrial city to serve the needs of industrial clients and tenants like yourselves. Now, we also then provide the logistics to be able to do that. And so yesterday we heard about the infrastructure going on in rail. We are linking up the Dawa Industrial City by rail to the port. This would ensure that you have adequate flows to and from it to ensure you are able to operate effectively. Now, in addition to all of this, LMI is also doing a number of projects that facilitate trade beyond just the building of industrial estates. We are currently working on our Trans-Volta multimodal logistics project, which would involve picking up the inland or landlocked countries around Ghana, transporting their trade volumes by rail to Mpakadan, transporting it across the Volta River up to Debre, and then for a continuation to Burkina Faso and beyond. This is a project that indeed we have completed the feasibility of. We are currently at the stage of closing up the finance for that, and we hope that we'll be on the ground very shortly. So I hope I've given you, in this short introduction, some ideas of how the private sector in Ghana itself is supporting the drive to industrialize. And you're welcome to discuss with us your needs, and I'm sure we'll be able to find for you some foothold in Ghana, and we hope you'll be part of our Dawa Industrial City project. Thank you very much for your time and attention.